George Carl Julius Hackenschmidt was a really interesting guy. He had some pretty strongly held opinions. But then, don't we all? I'm not going to talk an awful lot about Hackenschmidt's life. That probably deserves a video all of its own, if not more than one. He was quite unusual in wrestling terms, in that he was very much a proponent of what in modern day we would call bodybuilding. He was a professional strongman as well as a wrestler. But one of the things we have is this book here, which is a fantastic little thing. And this has got some really, really interesting ideas in it that are arguably ahead of their time. In it, he talks about the benefits of cross-training. He talks about how Greco is a really solid foundation for catch. He talks about the use of pain holds, the sort of thing that today we would consider to be a submission hold. He talks about them and their use for helping you gain a pin. He discusses the idea that it may be considered to be an illegal thing to do, but if the referee can't see it and it's on and off quick enough that nobody really notices and it gets you the pin, then it's probably fine. And that's something that you're probably familiar with if you've been involved in catch wrestling. I mean, I've been taught this on a number of occasions, how to put on a choke hold quickly enough that you can almost get to the point where you're choking somebody out and roll them into a pin, and by the time the pin's been called, then the person's come around from the choke and they've lost the match and all's fair. But none of those are the things that we're going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about today is gi versus no gi. You'll probably remember that many years ago, back before I crippled myself doing obscure forms of wrestling, I started to train a little bit more seriously in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Something I would strongly recommend that you all do. Obviously not if regulations dictate you don't currently, but as soon as the opportunity is there and you can do it safely, then you really ought to be looking at getting on the mats with some jiu-jitsu guys, because the stuff they do gives you a real different level of insight over grappling. But if you've done any of that, you're probably aware that there's this kind of rivalry between gi and no gi. The guys that are focused on the gi think that, that's proper wrestling. That's just the way it should be done. That's proper grappling. You're not relying on clothes and cheap tricks. You're actually just getting on with it and using your body and their body to win. It's a more pure form, if you like. But those people who like the gi suggest that no gi is a bit kind of grimy and dirty, and it's the grubby cousin that we don't talk about, and that proper refined grappling is based in the gi. Now, I quite like both, to be honest. My instinct is to say that I'm better at no gi than gi, but let's be honest, I mean, it's been a long time since I've trained, both because of COVID and because of a ridiculously gammy knee. So I'm probably crap at both. But I think there's a lot to be learned from both. But anyway, this video isn't actually supposed to be about me and what I think about. This is just going to be about what George Hackenschmidt thinks. This is not a new book. This is the second edition. Do you know what? I don't even know when it came out. But I do know that it was revised by Percy Longhurst, who was writing round about the turn of the century, and we know that Hackenschmidt was born in the 1870s. So this isn't a new book by any stretch of the imagination. Anyway, let me find my glasses, and I'll read you what dear old George has to say about jiu-jitsu. He's been talking a little bit about how Greco is a really good thing to do, and even if you're a catch-as-catch-can wrestler, that Greco will help you. So the beginning of the next paragraph starts, similarly, will they find practice at JuJitsu? especially with a Japanese instructor, extremely useful. The presence of the jacket and consequent difference in the method of coming to grips with an opponent, and the totally different idea of the style, may provide arguments against the claim that the Japanese style possesses any particular utility for the catch-as-catch-can wrestler. But he will find that the increased knowledge of tripping he will gain, and above all the practice of the art of balance, which is the very essence of JuJitsu, will be of inestimable, that's one of those words that I always struggle with, inestimable value to him. But few catch-as-catch-can wrestlers are really skilled at tripping, as will be pointed out later on. It is rare indeed that one sees the legs used for offensive purposes in ground wrestling, and when one does see a catch-as-catch-can wrestler utilising his legs in this fashion, it will almost invariably be found that he has graduated in, or has, at all events, had a fair amount of experience of JuJitsu wrestling, or the Cumberland and Westmoreland style. I think that's pretty clear, to be honest, and I find it really hard to disagree. You know, Hackenschmidt has a bit of a reputation for disliking British catch, but I think it's probably not justified. I think that he had a really clear idea of the strengths and weaknesses of different systems, and was a big proponent in trying to mitigate those weaknesses by training with different people in different styles. And I think that his results and the reputation that he still has today have probably gone some way to justify that. So I hope this has been interesting, a little quick and dirty look at the complete science of wrestling by George Hackenschmidt and his thoughts on jiu-jitsu. Let me know what you think. Do you do both? Do you do gi? Do you do no gi? Are you a grappler? Which do you think is best? Or would you agree that they're both just actually different facets of the same thing and all grappling is one and the same? I'd be really interested to know. So do stick something in the comments. Let me know what you think. And if you think this video has been interesting and would be appreciated by other people, please share it. One of my videos a week or so ago got picked up and shared on a forum, and it's been amazing. It's gone up to 17,000 views, which for me is quite an achievement. So let's see. It would be great if we can bring in a few new viewers and subscribers to the channel. So thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.